Anything from last class? Seven point. So we were on 7th chapter. We did Sloka, I think 20 to 23 last week. What was the discussion about?
Ganesh is the first to pay obeisances to Lord maximum. So he gets power to remove all obstacles for everything.
Why did we discuss Lord Ganesh?
So like we were discussing, are all gods important and
Important. Okay.
as in we have to really consider them all main gods.
Worship.
Worship
Okay.
all gods.
And how Kṛṣṇa ji is the first, and then the
Is he just the first? पहले वो आ गए तो ठीक है, वो मेन है ऐसा. You remember, Mataji? I'm sure you're going through your notes right now, but do you remember the discussion? Anyone online remembers what was the discussion? Did we discuss who's God, who are demigods? What is demigod? How are they different? Okay, somebody in the chat.
thank you.
As per one's material desire, people surrender to demigods. Okay. If you're not in a very crowded area, you can unmute yourself and talk, Rupali. Unless you're traveling and it's too noisy. Yes, Mataji. Priyanka Mataji, Kaveri Mataji. Anything. Who are demigods?
I have results of worship.
Results of worship, you don't know who are demigods.
What we create, like
What we create, man-made. Really?
totally wrong.
They cannot be on the same level.
Okay.
Um,
This is very important to understand. So I'm going to wait till. Yes. They help us get closer to Kṛṣṇa. Okay. But who are they?
they are also part and parcel.
They're part and parcel of Kṛṣṇa. Okay. Are they, some other entities?
There are also humans in that, like even I can become Brahma.
You can become Brahma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How? We discuss this. What is the qualification of becoming Brahma?
We need to be desireless and have like a pure lifetime to follow Dharma. 1,000 lifetimes to follow Dharma.
Dharma, what Dharma?
Imperishable for to be Brahma.
What Dharma?
The religion.
So if somebody strictly follows Varnashram Dharma for 1,000 lifetimes, even one lifetime is super difficult to follow 100% Varnashram Dharma. 1,000 lifetimes somebody very strictly follows, eligible to become Brahma. What is the eligibility of becoming Indra?
To give up all the
No. Indra is filled with desires. Take a guess. Bali Maharaj, he was on, or doing what? Yes. How many he had done? He had done
But what is it, the qualification? 1,000 Ashwini Devatas or 100?
100. He had done 99. He was about to do 100. Okay. So demigods are jivatmas like you and me, but they are qualified jivatmas who basically are deserving that post. Just like we have our what do you call it, government cabinets. So all the portfolios are awarded. Somebody is into finance, somebody is into justice, somebody is into electricity, somebody is into textile, somebody is into education, right? ऐसे सारे portfolios बांट दिए हैं, right? Indian cabinet में prime minister ने उसी तरह से there's a universal cabinet. So Kṛṣṇa is the only supreme personality of Godhead. Demigods are what? Jivatmas like you and me who are qualified. So they are given some responsibility to manage the universal affairs. How many demigods are there? Ah, 33 koti, yes, correct. So there are 33 crore or 33 koti Devi Devta, right? Who are managing different departments like that. An example, Yamraj, Justice Department, right? Mother Saraswati, Education, right? Kubera is handling the finance, all of that. So like that, there are different departments, different demigods are assigned to take care of different things. So Kṛṣṇa is the source of all of the living entities, including the demigods. So he cannot be equated on the same level as demigods. Okay.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, your voice is cracking, Prabhuji.
My voice is cracking.
Maybe that sharing screen can stop. Sharing the screen, if you stop, I think it becomes clear.
Okay. Now is it better?
But I don't know whether others will be able to see.
Is it any better now, the voice?
And now it's better. See, when you stop the sharing, no, it becomes better.
Okay. Okay. I have some thumbs up also. Okay. All right. So you will have to probably open vedabase.io at your end, or maybe sit with the Bhagavad Gita to follow along. Okay. Or someone else in the group can share the screen. So I don't use the bandwidth, but you can share the screen if someone has it open. All right. So last time we discussed how there are some people who there are people who surrender to Kṛṣṇa, 4 types of people who surrender to Kṛṣṇa, 4 types who don't, and then there are some people who are in between. And these in betweens are some people who surrender to or not surrender, but approach demigods for all their material desires. And they have been described by Kṛṣṇa as less intelligent, because ultimately all the fruits and the results are being sanctioned by Kṛṣṇa only, right? So demigods by themselves, they cannot award anything, but it's only by sanction of Kṛṣṇa that they are able to give something like that. So therefore, Kṛṣṇa is calling these people who go to demigods as less intelligent, but still he increases their faith in demigod. If somebody is approaching a demigod, he, by sanctioning the results, he only increases their faith, because kuch nahi se to kuch to follow kar raha hai. At least somewhere, some Vedic injunction he is following, right? Even if he is going to a demigod like that. So indirectly worshipping Kṛṣṇa like that. Now, next Kṛṣṇa is going to describe how there are some other class of worshippers, right, who surrender but improperly, who also surrender to God or Kṛṣṇa, but they surrender improperly. So one to abhi humne dekha indirectly through demigods, right? Now these are people who surrender to Kṛṣṇa but with improper understanding, like that. So let's chant the 24th Sloka. Avyaktam vyaktim apanam manyate mam abuddhaya param bhavam jananto mama vyayam anuttamam. Okay. Translation, someone?
Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, was impersonal before and now have assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature. which is imperishable and supreme.
Yes. So, abuddhaya, right? So, abuddhaya here proper translates as small knowledge, or sometimes is also translated as no knowledge. Abuddhaya, like that. So, unintelligent, like, the beginning itself says unintelligent, right? Without any intelligence, abuddhaya. So, unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa, was impersonal. So what are these class of people who think that God has no form, right? Or he's formless, impersonal. And that now he has assumed, when he's coming as Krishna, now that he has assumed a personality. कि भगवान के पास ऐसे फॉर्म तो है नहीं, बट कभी कभी आते हैं, मनुष्य शरीर धारण करके as Krishna, like that. So a very similar shloka. चाबी उधर पड़ना. A very similar shloka in the 9th chapter, where Krishna says, Avjananti ma mudha manusham tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. He's saying, fools deride me. Right? He's literally calling them mudha, fool. Fools deride me when I come, in a human-like form. Why? Because that's Krishna's original form. Even in Bible, I think there is a description that man is made in the image of God. So Bible describes how man is made in the image of God. जैसे भगवान दिखते हैं, उसी की तरह, like the Lord has 2 eyes, we have 2 eyes. He has 2 hands, we have 2 hands. He has 2 legs, we have 2 legs. 2 ears, we have 2 ears, like that. So man is made in the image of God, like that. So, but unintelligent people think कि नहीं, भगवान ने तो अभी शरीर धारण किया है और कृष्ण के रूप में आए हैं. And therefore they also think that like we are subject to the material nature, to the laws of the material nature, Krishna is also subject to the laws of material nature. So therefore sometimes, these people are called as Mayavadis. Mayavad means
You are behind Maya.
we all are behind Maya.
They are more in the world.
They think that we are like in the same position as God.
Why are they called as Mayavadis?
They don't believe in God. They believe in us.
नहीं, वो बोल रहे हैं ना भगवान है लेकिन impersonal है, या वो लोग बोल रहे हैं हम ही भगवान है, right?
They believe in energy and
Why? That's Brahmavadis. They're also impersonalists, but they're not exactly Mayavadis. So here it's a mix. Brahmavadi का भी description है, Mayavad भी इसमें घुस गया है थोड़ा. So why the term Mayavadi? Think about it. कुछ और भी तो बोल सकते थे, मायावादी क्यों बोले?
they believe in the Lord, but they're also behind Maya.
They also believe in Krishna. They're also behind Maya. Although we don't want to be behind Maya, but still currently we are behind Maya. At least I can talk about myself.
Give some hint then, Prabhuji.
नाम ही दिया है मायावादी, क्यों?
तो वही तो question है फिर hint
हाँ?
क्या है?
Material by some manifestation of Krishna.
Sorry, a material world is manifestation of.
So they are not into the spiritual world and they are into this so maybe because
Okay.
of that manifestation.
What are you saying?
By Maya.
Driven by Maya. Yes, everything is driven by Maya. It's Krishna's energy. Okay. Somebody online saying something? I'm not able to hear you, Pallavi.
Hello.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
They think
I think Mayavadi are spiritual, but they believe in like God is within themselves. God
Okay.
is not an yeah.
We also believe God is within ourselves.
But he is also separate from us.
Yes.
That's
Okay. So I think what you said is right. So why the term Mayavad? You just Googled it. Huh? What do you say?
same thing what I was like. They believe like, Krishna is also full of money.
So they are saying that, oh, the Supreme Personality, or they don't say personality actually, the absolute truth has now taken a form, material form, and now he's subject to Maya, which means Maya must be higher than Krishna. Right? Bhagavan bhi Maya ke antargat aa gaye. Right? If he's subject to the laws of Maya, then Maya is superior to Krishna. So we can call ourselves Krishnavadi, right? Why? Because we are, for us, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, no one above him. Mayavadi, they're saying Maya is the biggest. Indirectly. They may not like openly admit this, but what their philosophy is that, oh, even God, or we are actually all gods. We are actually equal to the absolute truth. But right now we are in this body, we are actually under the influence of Maya. And once we do some yoga, some, Kundli Jagran or whatnot, meditation, we'll become God. Or we'll again realize, oh, I am actually God. मैं तो भूल गया था. So what sort of nonsense God that is who forgets or who comes under the influence of Maya like that? So Krishna is always independent of Maya like that. He is known as the first Sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, Abhigya Swarat. He's Swarat. He's completely independent. He cannot come under the influence of Maya. Okay, so unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, was impersonal before, and now I have assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature. Okay. They don't know, they don't have information, or they assume that, arey, ye to material form hai Bhagavan ka. So one can, and here in purport, Prabhupada describes that how, or even later we'll come to know that how Krishna, he doesn't present himself openly to everyone. I think the next shloka itself is, Naham Prakasha Sarasya. Right? He's saying that I am not manifested to everyone. I do not reveal myself to everyone, especially to the unintelligent class who are thinking he's impersonal or who are thinking they themselves are gods, right? Like that. So I don't reveal myself to everyone. So one may argue, Krishna was present and on the battlefield of Kurukshetra or even in the assembly of the Kurus, everyone saw him. How is it that he's not manifest to everyone? He was manifest to everyone. So why is Krishna saying, Naham Prakasha Sarasya? I am not manifest to the unintelligent. Bhagavan to the na right? They were interacting with Krishna.
Because only few people can understand what Krishna is saying.
What Krishna is trying to say.
And like,
But I think the fact that they were included in that class of unintelligent men is that's why they could not, feel fully Krishna conscious or fully like devoted to the Lord.
What about Krishna conscious?
No, it's that the Lord was interacting with them and they were right there, but still they could not see the Lord in his ultimate.
they could not believe the fact that he's the
Supreme Lord. They were like, oh, he's just a coward boy. He's just like somebody like us, and we can capture him and we can,
Correct.
control him.
Correct.
So that lack of awareness only made them.
Yeah. So although Krishna was present right there, very few knew him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Others, they thought ki ye to theek hai, some powerful being, but we can capture him like Duryodhana thought. Isko pakad lete hain. We'll capture him, we'll kill him, etc. Like that. So, Hare Krishna. So,
I
did
see love, right? That's what they
yes. So, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Deshu Vilokayanti Yam Sham Sundaram Achinta Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purushantamaham Bhajami. Right? So, you need the salve of love, mascara of love, right? To be able to see Krishna. And so, what about, there are so many Kurus, for example, or Kauravas who could not see Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? What about the Brajavasis? They were also not seeing Krishna as Supreme Personality. Okay. So Maya.
Yeah. But also that is a different.
Ah.
But also it's like a different form of love. It's like Vatsalya Bhav, it's Sakhya Bhav. So for them, they want to treat Lord as their. So the Lord's opulence does not attract them. It's the Lord's love and how they want to serve him is what attracts.
Okay.
They were covered by Maya just so that they could enjoy that pastime of Kṛṣṇa because they wanted to experience it, and that's why Kṛṣṇa sanctioned that.
Okay. Anything else?
It's like that.
Golok has already reached the highest.
Okay.
Doesn't matter, right? Whether they see Krishna as God or as whoever.
But यहाँ पे तो इनका disqualification बताया जा रहा है.
For material world.
Okay. So what is the difference?
They are serving Kṛṣṇa. Their ultimate goal is to serve Kṛṣṇa. Like you see Yashoda, she saw the entire universe. She saw herself inside Kṛṣṇa. Yet she's like, oh no, he's my son.
Yeah. So it is not that actually all these associates of Krishna, it's not that they don't know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or it's not that they don't know the opulence of Krishna. Actually, they know. But then, because of Yoga Maya's covering, they forget. Because of Yoga Maya's covering, or because of the intense love that they experience, it completely overpowers the emotion that, oh, Krishna is the Supreme. Or, Krishna has so many opulences, he's so great. The idea Krishna is great is there. It's not that it's not there. Right? When these boys, the cowherd boys, they went to the Brahmanas to beg for some food. When Krishna Balram was there, and then later on they went to the Brahman Patnis. So this interaction between the Brahmana boys and the Brahmanas, right? They are describing the glories of Krishna. Very, very opulent glories of Krishna. They are describing. Right? It's not that they don't know. They know. And every evening when they come back, they actually compose songs of what Krishna did today. Which asura he killed. So, unke samne ho raha hai ye sab. Right? All the opulence Krishna is manifesting in front of their eyes. Right? Even when Mother Yashoda saw the entire universe, she first thought, who is my boy? Kaun hai ye? Right? Then later, because of that overpowering of the love and emotion, motherly affection, she thought that ultimate cause of all causes is Vishnu. Vishnu wanted me to see this here, so I'm seeing this here. मेरे बच्चे का कुछ है नहीं इसमें. Right? Or even, sometimes they think that, Garg Muni had said that he'll be equal in strength to Narayan, like that. So maybe Lord Narayan has decided to act through him. So whenever he is doing some wonderful things, actually it's Lord Narayan, it's not him. Actually it's Lord Narayan only, but he is the Nimitta Matra, right? The medium to conduct those activities. So like that they think. Right? So opulence, they are seeing the opulence. They are also informed that he must be some great personality, etc., because of which, he's the chosen one to, be the medium through which Narayan acts. But at the same time, the love overpowers all this information. Like that. So they have the knowledge. Even when gopis are glorifying, right? When Krishna disappears from the last dance, they are glorifying Nakhalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan, Akhila Dehi Nam Antaratmade. You are not son of Yashoda, right? You are the Paramatma within everyone's heart. They are describing this. So it's not that they don't know, they actually know. But they forget, and the love overpowers so much that, it's like an information somewhere, some archive file in the drive. Only where it's needed, it's accessed. Like that.
But how are Brajvasis worshipping Bharata,
Right.
Chandra, Surya?
They are worshipping Narayan, so that, or they are worshipping Durga Devi, or the gopis are worshipping Mother Katyayani, Durga Devi in the form of Mother Katyayani, that, Mother Katyayani, we are worshipping you so that we get Krishna as our husband. They are worshipping Ganesha, Radharani is worshipping Surya, right? She is doing this in order to achieve the result, which is Krishna.
But demigods are just the material world, right? In spiritual world, there are no demigods.
Yes. So then what?
How do they know about that?
How do they know about demigods?
Yeah, because demigods are in the material.
So, yeah. So, just like, say for example, Kaliya is a demon. He's there in the material world, right? And when Krishna stepped on his head, he ordered them leave Yamuna and go in the Pacific Ocean, right? Bermuda Triangle, what we call right now. At least the description points to that location. So he's also there in the spiritual world, right? He's also there in the spiritual world. Kamsa is there in the material world, right? So in the spiritual world in Golok, there is no Kamsa, but there is fear of Kamsa. In Golok Vrindavan, like I think Gokumar's story, right? We understand there is no Kamsa because Kamsa is in Mathura. Golok Vrindavan में कहाँ से आएगा? There is no Kamsa, but there is fear of Kamsa. Brajvasis are like, अरे, Kams ने भेजा होगा इसको या, भगवान को बचा के रखो, ज्यादा कुछ बोलना नहीं है, because Kams को पता चल जाएगा, right? And even Akrur ji comes. Krishna performs this pastime in Golok that he is leaving. Just to give the taste of separation or parakya bhav and that mode of separation to the gopis, he actually goes with Akrura. Even in Golok, he goes out, he's supposedly quote unquote leaving Vrindavan. He performs that pastime. But then next, immediately he's back. Not that वो घोड़ा घुमा करके वापस आते हैं. That he leaves, people are feeling separation. Next day again he's there, right, in his house. So they actually experience the pastime Krishna leaving. Like that. There's no concept of time, right? Nimesha Dakhyo va vrajitahi nahi atrapi samaya. So there is not even one moment which passes, which means there is day and night, Ashtakali Leela, but there is no concept of time, right? So ऐसा नहीं कि 10 साल निकल गए, अभी तो कृष्णा और बूढ़े हो गए या कोई दूसरा बड़े हो गए. Whoever, like we were hearing the other day in that Bhagavatam class yesterday. So if somebody is as a child, 4-year-old child, he'll always remain as 4-year-old child in that pastime. He doesn't grow to 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Like that. So the Leela repeats like that. Okay. So Prabhupada actually describes a lot of things in this purport. He's describing how there are so many authorities like Narad Muni, Vyasdev and others. They all understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Having a personality, having a form. And it is described that unintelligent people, they are not able to understand Krishna because of ignorance. So here these guys, because they don't have devotion, right? So these personalities are able to understand Krishna like Narada, Vyasa and others because they are seeing Krishna with devotion, like salve of love, or we describe Primanjana Chitra Bhakti My Lord, one is favored. Okay, this is very interesting. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study Vedas for many, many years. So we may find so many people studying Vedas, right? Din Raat, Ved Path kar rahe hain. But they are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a person. Why? Because they have not received the mercy of the Lord. Somebody even receiving the slightest mercy of Krishna's lotus feet can understand, how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna Prabhu. They understand how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. He's a person. I was hearing this short video, right? It was described that how scriptures are so great, right? Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they're so great. But we need mercy of those scriptures so that they unlock themselves and we are able to access. Right now, and the example was given like, a child wanting to touch the moon. The moon is there, right? And he may point and he may think, oh, I'm touching the moon. But it's really far. Really, really far. Right? On the other side, if he prays to the moon and if the moon decides, okay, let me go to this child, let me allow him to touch. If, Chandradev, he decides, let me go to this child, let me allow him to touch. Only then the child can touch. Otherwise, can he touch? Not possible. He must see the moon in front of him, he may do like this, but never in his life will be able to touch. Similarly, the scriptures are in front of us. We can open the scriptures, we can try and read also. Somebody may memorize everything in the scriptures. Everything. Usko jo bolo ek shloka quote kar dega samne aapko. Such people are also there. But they will never be able to touch the real scripture unless and until the scripture gives mercy and they decide to manifest and unlock themselves in front of us. Right? So therefore, even to approach Bhagavatam or Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it has to be done in a mode of humility, in a mode of surrender that please, I don't know, please reveal yourself. Right? With that mode of humility and surrender, if we approach scriptures, not with a challenging mode, dekhte kya likha hai andar, right? So then Kṛṣṇa is actually one of the manifestation of Kṛṣṇa is Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. It's his own manifestation. As you approach him, Kṛṣṇa will reveal or reciprocate in a similar way.
But there are so many people just because they want to challenge, they read Bhagavad Gita and then they become devotees.
No. So what happens there is also in one of the further verses. No. So what happens is bhakti is only generated from bhakti is caused by what?
Mercy.
Mercy, okay. Bhakti is generated by bhakti only. Bhakti there is independent. There can be no cause of bhakti. कह रहे मैंने बहुत knowledge ले लिया अभी भक्ति आ जाएगा नहीं. Bhakti is generated through bhakti. So devotees of the Lord, when you perform some pious activities, when you even in a challenging spirit, come to the temple कि अरे चलो मैं mistake निकालता हूँ यहाँ पे book खोल करके you are reading, right? Or there was a court case, there was a court case on devotees. The parents of some devotees had done a court case, or somebody had done a court case that this book promotes, war and this and that. So Prabhupada told this disciple who was actually fighting from the devotee side, from the temple side, he told him, he let this case run on forever. And all our arguments is Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavad Gita. Let the court read Bhagavatam. These are our arguments, right, in our favor. So let the case go on forever and let them read Bhagavatam. Like that. So even if somebody comes with a challenging spirit, it is the mercy of the devotee. The devotee says, "Ki ha, iski thoda interest hai. But challenge karne aaya hai. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to, preach to him or give him some prasad." So it's a devotee actually who passes on the mercy of the Lord. Because he has devotion in his heart, when he comes and talks to you, gives you some prasad, that devotion in his heart, some pious activities. So because of those pious activities, he thinks favorably for that person. Good candidate for Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Iska to already itna sab sudhra hua hai. Agar ye devotee ban jayega to kitna acha hoga. And then he gets inspired and approaches and tries to preach. So it is the mercy of the devotee, bhakti in his heart, that generates bhakti in other person's heart. And then the person is able to appreciate Kṛṣṇa as a personality. Varna impersonal hai bhai, sab jagah hai. They basically think like that. Even Prabhupada, he said, I have created your good fortune. Right? So think of, like, यहाँ पर आगे के श्लोक में डिस्क्रिप्शन आता है कि when a devotee sees pious activities, right, he favorably is disposed towards that person. When Prabhupada went to the West, क्या pious activity देखा प्रभुपाद ने? He was seeing people involved in all sorts of impious activities. Still, he gave mercy, right? So just imagine the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Right? इतना सब नेगेटिव हो रहा है वो देख करके भी फिर भी उनको पकड़ा नहीं आ जाओ बैठो. So we were hearing the other day the description of how Vaikuntha planets. So Vaikuntha planets and even the demigods actually. So there was a description how demigods, each demigod, all the stars in the sky, all the stars, they're actually vimanas. They are airplanes of different demigods, right? So like Chandra and his or Surya and his two wives, or I don't know how many wives, they'll have one particular. They have actually the sun planet. That's a separate story. But some other demigods with their consorts will be in those airplanes, right? And what they do in those airplanes, right? They could enjoy, like anything. But what they choose to do is. What they choose to do? You don't remember? Yes. They're constantly engaged in glorifying Kṛṣṇa. They're roaming around actually. Constellations change होते रहते हैं ना. These are actually vimanas of different demigods. They keep moving. And wherever they're going, they are constantly glorifying Kṛṣṇa. Even in Vaikuntha planets, there are constantly airplanes coming and going. There's a description like that. So almost like a bada terminal. Flights are जा रहे, busiest airport. So Bhagavad Gita में भगवान बोलते हैं कि यद गत्वाना निवर्तन्ते तद धाम परमं मम. Somebody who comes to my abode never returns. So how is it possible that there are flights going and coming?
आपने बताया था लास्ट टाइम
क्या बताया
वहां से जो जैसे जो महान आत्माएं होती हैं वो धरती पे आती हैं, so they come to bring back these people.
Perfect. Yes. So these are excellent. Let's read the. मैं सारे आगे के श्लोक का सब अभी बता रहा हूँ. So आगे के दो श्लोक है which is basically discussing this. So actually all these great personalities who are Nitya Parshads now, who are already liberated, they are seeing how others are suffering. So they're constantly coming and they're traversing different parts of the world just to reclaim these conditioned soul, which is all of us essentially. Okay, so let's read the next one. I think we've discussed most of the further shlokas, but okay. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrita modoyam na vijananti loko mamajam avyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So Bhagavan unborn and infallible है ये कुरुक्षेत्र में सारे लोगों को नहीं पता था. Right? Bro, you want to add something? Since we've already discussed a lot of points, you want to add something to this?
This is a point Kṛṣṇa, so in the previous verse when Prabhupada quoted few verses, where it was explained that Kṛṣṇa can only be understood by his mercy only. So we cannot, like Rohit was saying, we cannot open a book and then understand Kṛṣṇa. And sometimes people try to logically deduce, understand the world and even God, which is not possible to do. So very often people will have logical arguments to understand God or this world. So that doesn't work. Logically, we cannot understand God. So therefore, Kṛṣṇa can only be understood by his own mercy. And that verse said that lack of knowledge is there. because of which they do not understand. So how do we get that knowledge? How do we get that knowledge which is lacking? The lack of knowledge is not helping us understand Krishna. The knowledge also comes by Krishna only. It comes from within. There is that one verse that Yasya Deve Para Bhakti Yatha Deve Tata Guru. That knowledge actually comes when one has full faith in the spiritual master, in Krishna, then that knowledge is automatically revealed within the heart. Then we can understand Krishna. So it is not bookish knowledge like previously. We can open a book and read and understand God. It's not possible. So that firm faith has to be there in the Lord, in the spiritual master, and then we'll be able to see, understand Krishna immediately. So it comes from within. It's not to be looked for outside. But at the same time, we read Bhagavad Gita, like we said, in the devotional spirit, not just to memorize verses or just to quote them or things like that. So in that spirit of devotion, when we read it, then Krishna will, manifest from within.
Therefore, I think very important point. Thank you so much. So I think it's also very, very important that we try and study Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. Otherwise, there are many people who try to, become really, really scholars by reading it themselves. But practical application nahi aayega, right? And even to understand the mood behind some things, you need or the devotee can explain because that's coming in parampara. And even if you read purports as such, because you are actually getting association of Prabhupada, still you can understand a lot. But khud se aise khali Sloka read kiya, translation read kiya, difficult. It's very, very difficult.
I think go to slow.
Yeah, and it is best.
Yeah.
It is best to, Swadhyaya or self study is also very, very important. But then if it's in association of devotees, even at once a week and then or twice a week, and then we do Swadhyaya. So, yeah. No, if it's not even religion, like say for example, हम लोग जैसे भक्ति शास्त्रीय भक्ति वैभव करते हैं. So what happens is, thematic topics are picked up. They'll do 20 shlokas in one class like that. Just to give you a quick overview. So you could do a self-study of those 20 verses step by step during the week very nicely. And once a week, you can actually have that overview and some understanding. You can ask your questions, etc. like that. So even that way is, it's good. And you can ask those relevant questions. How do I apply this? Or, I don't understand this. Can you elaborate more on this, etc. like that. So if you ask questions, then, you can actually have some good understanding. Okay, here, there's one small piece which I think I can highlight in this one. So Bhishma supported and proclaimed Kṛṣṇa to the Supreme God when, that Rajasuya Yajna was happening and Kṛṣṇa was, chosen as, the main person, to be worshipped, etc. So, Shishupal objected. Like, how can you, ye to ek gwala hai, ye hai, wo hai. So Bhishma established strongly, Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even the Pandavas, they supported. But this person he was so envious, he started still continuing to, blaspheme Kṛṣṇa, and then ultimately he was killed.
Godhead means
Godhead. You mean suna tha, bhul gaya. Do you remember?
let's stop here. Please.
So why? Because even there are so many Narayana forms, there are so many Vishnu forms, etc. They're all Supreme Person actually. Different features of the Supreme Personality itself, right? But the fountainhead of all of that is Kṛṣṇa. Okay, so let's see if there is anything I'm missing here. Yeah. Oh my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and devotional service unto you is the highest religious principle. Therefore, I pray that you will also maintain me. Your transcendental form is covered by Yoga Maya. The Brahman Jyoti is covering the covering of the internal potency. You may kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Satchidananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in His transcendental form of bliss and knowledge is covered by internal potency, Brahma Jyoti, and less intelligent impersonals cannot see the Supreme on this account. So when he's saying Nama Prakasha Sarvasya, right? I'm covered by my internal potency, matlab he is actually covered by his Brahma Jyoti, right? Even I think Ishopanishad describes that there is a veil. Every living entity cannot see Krishna directly, and that veil is what? Glaring effulgence from Krishna's body. एकदम अच्छा दूर से बहुत ज़्यादा strong light आता है गाड़ी का headlights रात को एकदम अंधेरे में. We're not able to see the car. We're just seeing the light, right? And sometimes so glaring when it comes close, you have to close your eyes. So this Brahma Jyoti is like that there's a glaring effulgence of Krishna, and you are not able to see Krishna because itna zyada light hai. So the impersonal is, oh, God is light. Bhagavan kya hai? Light hai. But when Krishna, he decides to give his mercy, वो light कम कर देते हैं, निकाल देते हैं. कि ठीक है भाई, अभी देखो मेरे को. Like that. So then we can, जब वो बत्ती बंद कर देते हैं गाड़ी चलाते हुए, तब सामने वाले हाँ ठीक है गाड़ी ये Mercedes जा रहा है. And then we can see and appreciate what car it is. So similarly, Krishna switches off or turns off that Brahma Jyoti for somebody who's practicing pure devotion service. Then we can see Krishna.
Any incident in Bhagavad Gita where someone has seen Krishna?
In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, filled with all people who've seen Krishna. So, Bhagavad Gita is instructions of Krishna to Arjuna, right? Srimad Bhagavatam is application of Bhagavad Gita and lives of devotees, how they are applying, right? So, these are all experience of devotees who are experiencing the Supreme Person face to face.
11 Mahajan stories.
Yes.
These are part of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes. Not all 11 though, right? But a lot of the Mahajanas are covered. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj is there.
Any particular book
Prahlad.
Aji has written?
Huh?
Any book of Aji?
Srimad Bhagavatam?
No, like describing the meeting of Krishna. Any
Meeting of Krishna, yes.
Yes.
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Brihad Bhagavatam. वहां पे तो अच्छा खासा मीटिंग डिस्क्राइब्ड है. Meeting Gop Kumar. I've mentioned Brihad Bhagavatam last time also. It's such an exciting book. मतलब जब तक कृष्णा से गोप कुमार मिलता नहीं, आप छोड़ नहीं पाओगे उसको.
The one I was saying I read for 2-3 days.
Brihad Bhagavatam.
Last class you were mentioning.
Brihad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
You read it?
No, you were saying that I couldn't leave the book.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, it's available. Oh, that's one book. It's like nothing beats it. Till date for me at least. Nothing beats it. Okay.
The promotional bookstores are closed when we finish the class.
4 बजे रुको थोड़ा. ऑनलाइन भी ऑर्डर कर सकते, घर पे डिलीवर हो जाएगा. आपको चाहिए मैं डिलीवर कर दूंगा आकर के. मैराथन चल रहा है हमारा, सेवा है वैसे भी. जिसके बाद भागवतम सेट नहीं, भागवतम सेट ले लो. जिसको बृहद भागवतम में इंटरेस्ट है, बृहद भागवतम ले लो.
So is it compulsory that you have to reach in Bhagavatam in 10?
Yeah,
Ideally, yes, that's a chronological order. Although I did not follow it. मुझे पता नहीं था तभी, and I just went through. That was like a really amazing trip. But yes, ideally go in a chronological order. Read Prabhupada books first, then read the other books. Yes, ideally do that. Okay. I was going to say something, I forgot. Anyway, Steve, so yeah, we were talking about Brahma Jyoti and how by mercy of Krishna Sumo. So then the question comes, I think that's the following shlokas. So here Krishna is saying that there is a veil. Is a parda again. The devotees are not able to see him. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is actually having his commentaries on Bhagavad Gita is very interesting. It's like having a discussion. He's saying from Krishna's side, he's saying from Arjuna's side, he's saying from our side. So now he's taking the role and questioning from our side. कि अरे, एक पर्दा आ गया बीच में, मतलब people, those who are impersonal, they cannot see Krishna. Does it also mean that Krishna cannot see them? बीच में पर्दा आ गया. क्या भगवान देख सकते हैं? Right. So then Krishna is answering in the next verse. Vedaham samatittani Vartamanani Charjuna Bhavishyani cha bhutani Mam tu Vedana Kaschana. Translation, someone can read? Yes.
Oh Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows.
So Krishna is answering Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here, right? He's saying that I know all living entities, they don't know me, right? And I know not just them, not that only that I can see them, I can see what? Their past, their present and future. Right? So Bhagavan sab kuch dekh sakte hain, right? It's answered here. Okay. Let's see something.
Even pure devotees of Krishna can see everything, right?
That depends.
Like Guru Maharaj, all Guru Maharaj, they know.
That also depends. So Krishna empowers somebody as per need. Like Arjuna was empowered, single-handedly he could fight all the Kauravas in the fight of Virat, right? He could literally fight Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, all the personalities, literally, single-handedly. Single-handedly. Mahabharat mein to aisa nahi tha. Mahabharat mein requirement was different, right? So he was empowered to still fight, but not that he fought everyone just alone. And then later on, the requirement changed even further, right? And he could not even protect the queens of Dwarka from some Adivasis, right? And then Arjuna says, actually my power was from Krishna only. He left and my power is gone. So Krishna empowers somebody as per need. Even for that matter, is pure devotee. He may actually, the pure devotee may be carrying all the Ashtasiddhis sometimes, but he won't show. Because whenever required, they will manifest. Whenever not required, they will not manifest. Sometimes they may not even have those Ashtasiddhis, right? Because it's not needed. It may be there in a very dormant state or not there because it's not needed. Right? So what a spiritual master knows everything, or pure devotee is supposed to know everything. Like in Nectar of Devotion, I think Mataji is regularly, very nicely sending messages from Nectar of Devotion every day, right? Qualities of Krishna. That is very nice.
But it's helpful.
Yes, yes.
It's 1 lines.
That's very nice. And you've picked the right book.
It was a small one, so I thought I'll be able to finish.
Smaller. Nectar of Devotion. Some other book.
Very small
Achha.
pocket book.
That is actually an extract from a book called Nectar of Devotion.
Okay.
So all the 64 transcendental qualities of Krishna are mentioned. Many other things are mentioned. So I was saying what? I forgot. Nectar of Devotion में से क्या लिया है? What was I saying right now?
Arjuna's power goes if Krishna.
Only because of Krishna he had all the power.
Only because of Krishna he had all the powers. And what?
So what is
So even pure devotees, they are supposed to know everything, right? If you read Nectar of Devotion, one of the qualities of devotee that they know, they're expert. They know everything. What does that mean? उनको साइंस का फॉर्मूला पूछे हम लोग जाकर के, अरे they know everything, right? या मैथमेटिक्स का प्रॉब्लम दे दे सॉल्व करने के लिए.
Application of Bhagavad Gita.
They know everything related to Krishna.
Application perspective, I see from what I see. Because if a person doesn't know the application part, then begin.
They should know.
So everything about Krishna may also not know. Right? Because the minute he knows, his qualities extend. Right? Like there's a transcendental competition there. So sometimes when Krishna sees himself, he's enamored. Arey, ye kaun hai? Right? He's so awestruck by his own beauty, and he's like staring in the mirror. Wow. ये तो मतलब एकदम, because every single day, every single moment, his beauty is increasing. Right? It's an endless thing. It's like going on increasing. right? So the minute Krishna is like, "Ha, abhi sab cover kar liya," some energies expand like that. Of course, Krishna may still somehow know and not know at the same time. But the point is that it's very difficult to know everything about Krishna. So a pure devotee is expert and he knows everything that is required to take you back and back to God. So a lot of times, and especially when we read these things, if there is no clarity, we'll try to, we might commit offenses by judging, "Arey, ye Maharaj expert nahi hai." Right? So that's an offense actually. So expert or knowing everything means they're expert and they know everything that is required to take you back and back to God. When you come in front of them, they'll know exactly what to say, so that you can take that next step, remove that next roadblock on your path of devotion. Because Krishna is sitting in their heart, is completely taking control of all their senses. All the senses of a pure devotee is completely directly controlled by Krishna. So what to say to whom? Krishna knows, right? So through the medium of Guru, speaks. Okay, this is also one very interesting line here. Certainly, the transcendental body of Sri Krishna is not perishable, just like the sun, and Maya is. He's just like the sun. Maya is like a cloud. In the material world, we can see there is sun, and that there are clouds and different stars and planets. Clouds may cover all these in the sky temporarily, but this covering is only apparent to our limited vision. So हमको दिखाई दे रहा है कि cloud has covered the sun, and because of that, we're not able to see the sun directly. It's our limited vision from our perspective. Can the cloud, which is so tiny maybe or whatever, can it cover the sun? Sun is how many times bigger than Earth? I forgot. I don't know, some hundreds of thousands of times maybe bigger than the Earth, right? So
1 lakh times.
no, not lakh times. I think it's
10,000 times.
I don't know. So if you technically go to see a small cloud, cannot cover the sun. But it's because of our limited vision and our position, we are thinking that, oh, the cloud has covered the sun. That's what sometimes happens to devotees also, where we think, अरे मैं तो इतना पापी हूँ, इतना पतित हूँ कि कोई उद्धार ही नहीं कर सकता मेरा, भगवान भी नहीं कर सकते. Sometimes, we get into that zone where we think, अरे I'm so fallen, right? Most fallen वाले zone में चले जाते हैं.
But nobody can be most fallen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because only one person who writes in his
Chitragupta, who writes what?
He's written a song, and in that song he has written.
Narottam Das Thakur.
Yeah, he is the most fallen.
That's his humility.
No, I heard in one of the lectures saying that we should not try taking his position. He is the most fallen.
No, we should not try imitate the mood of. He's an acharya, Narottam Das Thakur. If you study his life, it's like he's pure devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his lila, is crying, Narottam, Narottam, out of separation from Narottam Das Thakur, who's not even born yet. He's going to be born later. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is crying for Narottam Das Thakur. Just imagine what kind of person he would be. Right? How can he be fallen? So we should not imitate his humble attitude or mood. Right? Yes, we should consider ourselves very, very fallen, but we should not falsely imitate like that. Humility doesn't mean, oh, Prabhuji, मैं तो बहुत fallen. Right? मैं ये हूँ, मैं वो हूँ, मैं ये हूँ, मैं ऐसा हूँ, मैं वैसा हूँ, मैं और मैं.
In the lecture, I heard that you should not think of yourself to be most of anything, because you cannot be most
Correct.
of anything.
Correct. Prabhupada said this to a disciple. Right? Disciple said, oh, I am most fallen. So Prabhupada said, you are most of nothing. Like that. Humility means to, let's see, who remembers? Definition of humility by His Holiness Gopal Krishna Swami Maharaj. Humility means to be ready to accept correction direction, and guidance. We are immediately angered. Arey, kaise correct kiya mere ko? How can he say anything? He doesn't know kitna knowledge hai mere paas shastra ka. Right? How can what he's saying is nonsense?
Correction.
Correction. Correction is कि हाँ कुछ गलती किया किसी ने बोल दिया. Accepting correction. Direction means कि short term direction. कि अरे ये नहीं ये करो ऐसा नहीं ऐसा करो. That's direction. And guidance is long term. Take guidance.
Short and sweet.
So that's humility. To accept correction, direction, and guidance. And in words of Srila Rajnath Swami Maharaj, it is to think less about yourself. Right? So, अपना मत सोचो, दूसरे का सोचो. Like that. Okay.
Whole thing that Maharaj said is that not to think less of oneself, but to think less about
oneself. Yes. अपने आप को कम मत समझो, but अपने बारे में कम सोचो. Okay, let's look at the next verse. Ichha dvesha samuttena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Someone can read the translation. Acha. English one, anyone? You can read the translation. Kaveri.
O conqueror of all living entities are born into delusion. We bewildered by dualities arising from the desire and the hate.
Right. So here now so this is verse 27. Okay. So in the previous verses, Kṛṣṇa has been talking about how he's covered and he's not visible to the impersonals, etc. And how there are unintelligent people who are thinking of Kṛṣṇa as impersonal, etc. And then he describes how he knows everything, although others may not be able to see him, but he can see everything and everyone, and he knows everyone's past, present, and future. Now, in the next following verses, he starts describing how people are covered by Maya, right? Abhi covering ke baare mein bata diya. Abhi now he's going to describe that how they are covered by Maya, when and where, and for what reasons they get covered by Maya. And then ultimately, towards the end of the chapter, he explains how can somebody get out of Maya, become free from Maya, like that. So 27, 28, and 29, these are the three verses. We've actually discussed and touched upon a lot of these. If we have time, maybe in 10 minutes we'll go through it and we'll be through with the chapter. Is that okay? 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. So, O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of foe, all living entities are born in delusion. So Kṛṣṇa is describing how do the living entity fall in Maya. So he's saying that we are born in delusion. Delusion का definition मैंने बहुत बार दिया है. What is delusion?
It is not real.
Okay.
Like what you think.
Okay, let me remind you. Illusion, delusion, hallucination. याद आया? There is illusion, there is delusion, and then there is hallucination.
Illusion is something that we imagine, but delusion is.
Illusion is more of Maya's greatness and her influence on you, which is subjected to the laws of material nature. And delusion is more of your own lack of understanding and your own bewilderment, which maybe doesn't allow you to understand Kṛṣṇa.
What is hallucination?
Hallucination is the pictures that you create in your head, the psychic.
Yeah.
Okay, some better explanation of this? Anyone? You have heard of this. Okay. So Prabhupada gives an example to explain all three of terms very clearly. So these are different degrees of illusion. One is illusion. So the example is
Mirage.
right. Mirage is one good example, but the example is that say for example a person, he is going to work, वो garage में से गाड़ी निकालने जाता है, and suddenly he yells, and he runs. So he says snake, snake, snake. So घर वाले आते हैं, बोले कहाँ है snake? तो मिलता क्या है कि रस्सी मिलती है. So he was illusioned. He thought a rope to be a snake. Delusion, which is a higher degree of illusion, right, is when you consider a snake a rope. सांप को हाथ में लेके घूम रहा है रस्सी के खेलते हुए, कभी भी काट लेगा. Very dangerous. That is delusion. Second level of illusion, right? Third level of illusion is hallucination. There is no rope, there is no snake. You're still imagining something. That is hallucination. Like that. So illusion, delusion, hallucination. So यहाँ पे the statement is we are born in delusion. कैसे?
But bigger purpose we are instead of following that, we are doing something else with Maya.
Okay. Yes. Very close. Yes.
We are not understanding our own position. What is our
What is our position?
like? What are like? We are not the body. We are the soul. We are actually.
So just imagine the example of delusion. We are roaming around with a rope in the hand, think a snake in a hand, thinking it's a rope. It's a very dangerous situation. How does it compare to our situation now?
We are living with the Maya
With one.
and doing all those things while influenced by calm or glory. And because of that, we are not able to do what we are supposed to do because we are born as human.
Yes. So I think some years ago I had seen a movie. What is it? There's a movie called some Percy. I don't. Huh? Percy Jackson. Yes. So there was a scene there where they are actually they are on a mission to recover something, some artifact from the demigods, etc. Because they are themselves demigods, and they actually enter a hotel where they're made to drink something and they're given something so that they forget their mission.
In a club.
Yes, they forget their mission and they're just enjoying there. Right? And agar wo mission pura nahi kiya, the world is going to end and whatnot. But the means to stop them is that to keep them there. That was the means applied by the enemy to keep them there. कि उनको तो मस्ती मजाक कराते रहो, right? And they'll just forget their mission and the world will end like that. So this is something like that for us. What is that bhajan where I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur's bhajan, we are sitting in the lap of Maya. जीव जागो गोरा चांद बोले कोथा निद्रा जाए माया पिशाचिर को. Right? So the Maya is described as a witch, right? And we are lying in the lap of that witch. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Jeev jago, get up. Right? So come out of that. And we are happily sitting there enjoying, thinking we are enjoying. This is a very nice, Hare Krishna, a very nice example of Ashtavakra. So Ashtavakra Muni, once he went to the palace of Janak Maharaj. And Janak Maharaj had put a question to everyone, to all his ministers, how to get free from Maya. Maya is so strong, how to get free from Maya. So he was discussing this and everyone, they were giving some suggestions, they were giving their own ideas, etc. And Janak Maharaj is not satisfied. He's a Mahajan. He knows, right? He was not, but he was genuinely putting this question because a sign of great devotees is that they think that they are also under the influence of Maya. They are not doing enough. They are not doing enough devotional service, etc. So he was genuinely asking this question. And then Vakra Muni, appeared on the scene. So he immediately got down from his throne. He gave him his own seat. He washed his feet. And then he put this question in front of this Ashtavakra Muni. So he said, how can we get free from Maya? So immediately ये story किस किसने सुना है?
Story ना.
Okay. So he immediately got up from the throne and started running. So Maharaj said, so he also started running behind him. All the ministers, they started running behind him. Some ministers started gossiping, saying that answer pata nahi kaise bhag. But they all ran and ran. And then this Ashtavakra Muni, he entered the garden of the palace. And in the garden, he actually went up to a tree and embraced the tree. And he said, please, mujhe bachao, mujhe chhodwao, mujhe bachao, mujhe chhodwao. Right? So everyone else, they arrived also. They saw what Ashtavakra Muni is doing. He is shouting, please save me, please save me, please save me, get me free from this tree. So everyone like, ye kya kar rahe? But Janak Maharaj understood कि माया ने हमको नहीं पकड़ा है, हमने माया को पकड़ के रखा है और हम पूछ रहे कि यार कैसे छुड़ाए या दूसरों को बोल रहे छुड़ाओ प्लीज छुड़ाओ, राइट? हमने पकड़ के रखा है. So that is the position. We are holding the snake in our hands, right? Delusion. So we are born in delusion. Bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. Or we are bewildered by desire and hate. हमें इच्छा है चीजों की, वो मिला तो सही बात है, नहीं मिला तो hate. Right? We are always living in fear and lamentation. Fear of future, lamentation of the past. Present में जीते ही नहीं हम. You want to add something to it? Okay, we'll quickly go to the next two verses and complete the chapter. येषां त्व अन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोह निर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रता. You can read the translation, someone. English, phone pe de do unko. They can read loudly the translation.
Persons who have acted
Piously
in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with their delusion.
Correct. So we previous verse में भगवान बोल रहे हैं कि everyone is born in delusion. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur questions, अरे फिर क्या होगा? How will anyone achieve devotion? If everyone is born in delusion, कहाँ से आएगा devotion? Who will give? So here Krishna is then replying कि persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, पूरा sinful account खत्म है, free from dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service and determination. These kind of people, they are devotees already. So हम जो discussion कर रहे थे, how Vaikuntha में there are planes coming and going. These are the personalities who actually come from Vaikuntha, right? And then with the bhakti in their heart, they actually sow the seed of bhakti in everyone's heart. And that's how somebody can start performing devotion. Varna possible in here. Everyone is born in delusion, right? Okay, so we've discussed this quite a lot. Do we want to add something? Otherwise, we'll move on to the last one. Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritaya yatanti ye de brahma tad vidhu Kṛṣṇam. Adhyatmam karma chakhilam. Vishal Prabhu, you want to read the translation?
Those who take shelter into me.
No, intelligent persons.
29.
Yeah, 7.29.
10.29. Okay. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activity.
So in the previous verse, the Lord, he described who will take shelter of me, or how will the devotion actually come. He said there are pure devotees who come, sow the seed, and then everyone basically starts practicing devotion, through which they come to the stage of burning up their sinful activities, understanding Krishna more and more and more, and then they start practicing or pure devotion service like that. He is now here talking about another class of devotees who are also taking shelter of Krishna. So what he's saying is intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation. Here there is slight mixture. It's not pure devotion. Here there is slight desire for liberation, to get free from birth, death, old age and disease, right? So that is, and ye stage mein bahut sare log, through jnana, like jnanis basically, they try to solve these problems. These are the real problems of life, birth, death, old age. So they try to solve. So they sometimes endeavor and come in touch with devotees and practice devotion service. So intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and disease take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman, because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. So they study, they understand, try to understand the Lord more and more. Why? Because they want to get liberated. Right? In this process, some are purified enough to give up the idea of liberation and completely perform devotional service. Some are stuck to the idea, they get liberated. Right? As a byproduct of devotion itself, they get liberated like that. So, yeah, I think we've discussed enough. Prabhu, you want to add something, or should we read the purport maybe? Yeah, so there is no birth, old age, death, disease for spiritual body. Someone who attains spiritual body becomes one of the associates of Supreme Personality of Godhead, engages in eternal devotional service, is really liberated. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit. It is said that one should understand that he is Brahman, spirit, soul. This Brahman conception of life is also devotional service as described in this verse. Pure devotees are transcendently situated on the Brahman platform. They know everything about transcendental activities. Yeah. Somebody who is practicing devotional service slowly and steadily gets to the Brahman platform, where he starts living on the platform of soul, that he understands and realizes that he is the soul. Otherwise, humko abhi pata hai we are soul, information hai, but we are living as if we are the body. Right? So complete practice of living on the platform of soul is not there. But as we practice, we can come to that platform, and that time we are really liberated while living also. So it's called Jivan Mukta stage. 4 kinds of impure devotees who engage in such a transcendental service of the Lord achieve their respective goals. So somebody may come for dharma, artha, kama, moksha, right? These 4 things are also there. Somebody are ritualistic in nature, they just want to do something to gain something, artha, then fulfill their desire, kama, and then ultimately they want moksha also, like that. So this kind of mentality is also there, and people approach the Supreme Lord for this also, like that. So sometimes they get stuck in demigod worship, sometimes they worship Krishna directly, sometimes they have impersonal conception, like that. But nonetheless, if they're connecting to Krishna, right, either they have a very, very gradual, slow progression, or sometimes if they are fortunate enough to gain the mercy of a devotee, right, and mercy of the Lord, they understand Krishna as a person, they associate with devotees, they hear, they can quickly, right, achieve or come to the understanding of how Krishna is the Supreme Person and practice devotion service, like that. So last, those who are engaged in worshipping the form of Archa or of the Lord, who engage in meditation on Lord simply for liberation from material bondage, also know by the grace of the Lord the purpose of Brahman, Adi Bhuta, etc., as explained by the Lord in the next chapter. So here, actually, in this sloka, no, not the previous one, I think. So there are some words. Oh no, ek aur last sloka hai. My bad. So that's the last sloka. I know we are tired. but we'll quickly. Okay. Sadi bhutadi daivam mam Sadi yagnam cha ye vidhu prayana kalya picha mama te vidur yukta chetasaha. Someone can read the translation quickly.
Consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of the methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at that time of death.
Okay, so this is basically the link to the next chapter, right? So here, इसमें S डाला हुआ है, but I think the verses Adi Bhutam, Adi Daivam, or Adi Yagnam. These are three things, that Kṛṣṇa is talking about. Those who, in full consciousness of me, know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of material nature or material manifestation. Adi Bhuta, right? He is the governing principle of the source of material nature. Then Adi Daiva, he is the source of demigods. Adi Yagna, he is the source of all methods of sacrifices or governing principle behind all the sacrifices. If one knows all these three, they can understand Kṛṣṇa. And as such, they will understand him at the time of death also. So it was very, very relevant for Arjuna. Arjuna is on the battlefield about to fight without knowing the result. Ki kya hone wala hai. So he's very interested. Ki mere ko ye janna hai. Right? Who knows if I die? Right? So he asked the question, ki, what is this Adi Bhuta, Adi Yagna, Adi Daiva? What is Adhyatma? What is what he asked? One more thing, I think he asks. Actually, 6 things he asks.
In chapter 8, we talk about those things.
Chapter 8 mein, there is a description of all of this. He asked about Brahman. What is Brahman? What is Adhyatma? What is Karma? What is Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yagna? He asked these 6 questions, and that's the beginning of chapter 8. So, अभी Brahman के बारे में बात किया ना इसके पहले वाले श्लोक में, right? So he's basically hearing all these fancy words. These are like jargons for him. So now he, in the 8th chapter, will start asking कि ये सब क्या है, and Kṛṣṇa will start explaining that. So that's it. Thank you, everyone. We'll stop here. If you want to add something, and after that, after he finishes adding something, we can have any questions or reflections. Add something. Okay.
Governing means probably governing.
Governing principle.
Means like what context?
Governing principle means that.
Like let's say example material manifestation. What is
so Bhagwan so Kṛṣṇa basically has expanded as Paramatma in everyone's heart, in every atom. Without Kṛṣṇa being present there as Paramatma in every atom, nothing, material nature cannot function. He is a governing principle behind everything. Even Devatas, they are able to give you things by sanction of Kṛṣṇa only, right? Okay. Anybody, any questions online? I see 2. Okay. Probably Lord Kṛṣṇa is incarnation of Lord Vishnu, right? No, Vishnu is incarnation of, not incarnation, he is the expansion of Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is the source of everything, and Vishnu is one of the expansions. That is what we have been taught since ages. Not since ages, we've been taught this since few decades when you started seeing some TV serials like that. So if you talk about since ages, then we should refer to scriptures, and this is what scriptures describe. That ete chamsha kala pumsa Kṛṣṇastu Bhagwan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Nidayanti Yuge Yuge. So everyone else is ete chamsha kala, right? They are either amsha or kala. Kala is the smallest portion of Kṛṣṇa, right? And others, even others like demigods, are servants of Kṛṣṇa, like that. So all the Vishnu forms, all the Narayana forms, these are expansions coming from Kṛṣṇa, right? And we can discuss this more in detail. There is an entire Brahma Samhita which Lord Brahma describes how all these things work. So maybe next class we can discuss that. Yes.
Granth Sahib, there are thousands of Vishnus,
Yes.
thousands of Narayana.
So there are 24 Narayana forms, right? Depending on what, 24 different Narayana forms, and there is permutation combination what they hold in what hand. So 24 then with all those permutation combinations can result into millions and billions, I guess. Okay, so no other questions or reflections? 30 seconds, sorry.
Yes, understand.
Yes.
Then Sahib also talks about Sri Krishna.
Yes, Govind. Yes. So the word Govind appears so many times in Guru Granth Sahib.
That is the facet of Hinduism. पहले सनातन धर्म
Like,
She's reading a verse. You can ask. You're saying something else.
I don't know, I was just saying this, this one, like the Guru Granth Sahib also talks about Bhagavad Krishna, like this Bible talks about God. They refer God, if I am not wrong.
Christ.
Christ, Jesus Christ.
Christ comes from the word Christos, Greek word Christos, which means Christos का मतलब Greek में all attractive. Krishna means all attractive, right? Krishna Sanskrit में अगर आप उसको break down करोगे, Kṛṣṇa, right? Which means all attractive. So the Greek word Christos also is meaning the same, all attractive.
It is like this Sikh Dharma,
Hmm.
they are separated from Hindu Dharma or something because the
ये हिंदू धर्म भी नहीं बोल सकते. This is called as Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is basically eternal religion. Eternal religion means what is your default nature, right? धर्म जो हम religion बोलते हैं, religion means faith. It can be changed. धर्म means an intrinsic quality of anything. Like sugar का धर्म है मीठा होना. मीठा होना बंद हो गया. Can it be called sugar? पानी का धर्म है liquidity, right? Free flowing. If water is frozen, can it be called water anymore? It's ice. Liquidity चला गया, बर्फ बन गया, उबाल दिया, gas बन गया, right? So something which cannot be separated. If it's separated, that thing stops existing in that same form, right? So dharma means an intrinsic quality which cannot be separated from you. तो जीवात्मा का जो धर्म है, right? जो गुण धर्म है हमारा, actually स्वधर्म उसको बोलते हैं, which is to know God and to love Him and to serve. So to love and serve, these are the two things which are intrinsic quality of the soul's nature.
just question है क्योंकि like correctly,
हाँ,
like Bibles
हाँ,
and
Quran, हाँ,
I'm not sure. In these two books,
हाँ.
direct definition of Krishna, like she talked about. Guru Granth
Correct.
Sahib.
So why there are so many religions? I'll answer that. Basically, आपका घुमा फिरा के question वही है. Correct. Let's not just take these two. There are so many others also. Correct. So there are some bona fide religions, like or bona fide scriptures, like Quran, Bible, right, Torah, and there are so many others also, right? So there are some bona fide religions. There are many non bona fide religions, right? Non bona fide मतलब अरे मैं हिमालय से आया, I know everything. I'll start something, right? That's non bona fide. No, there is no parampara. There is no connection directly to Krishna there. So there are some bona fide religions. Now bona fide religions में why there are differences? Why some places there is no direct description of Krishna? Why there is some covered descriptions of the Lord, etc. So one quick example. जिसके पैर दुख रहे हैं, please खड़े हो जाओ, थोड़ा stretch कर लो. It's going to take 2 minutes. Okay. So quick example. Somebody, suppose what's the name? Shreyash. Kṛṣṇa. I remember. So Shreyash and Kṛṣṇa. Let's not take Krishna's example. थोड़ा सा अजीब लगा example देते हुए. So Shreyas, say for example, he smokes 40 cigarettes a day, right? Then Vidhi here smokes 20 cigarettes a day. Vishal there smokes 10 cigarettes a day. and she has just started. She has just started, right? And you have to tell all 4 people. आपको मैं बता रहा हूँ, आपको भी पता है, you're a doctor, you know smoking is terrible, right? Will your instructions to Shreyans, to Vidhi, to Vishal, to her, will it be the same? Q?
Intensity.
Intensity. What will you tell him?
Reduce by like 5.
Reduce some, at least something, half.
5. Not half.
One, okay, one, or whatever.
What will you tell to Vidhi?
Count to 5 instead of 5.
For one, just started.
ये 40 पी रहा है, इसको बोलोगे 20 पियो,
Yes, sir.
right? And you'll tell him no smoking on a Friday, right? तुमको क्या करना है? 40 का 20 and no smoking on Fridays. To Vidhi, you will say, look, 10 cigarettes only, 20 पी रहा है, only 10. आपका ये ऐसा लिख के दे दिया, prescription 10 cigarettes a day and no smoking on Mondays and Thursdays, right? And Vishal को आप लिख के दोगे कि 10 cigarettes पी रहा है, please 5 cigarettes only लिख के दे दोगे, and no smoking on Tuesday, Wednesday and Sunday. ठीक है? And to her you'll say, what you'll say? Stop smoking, right? Because that's the ultimate message. So अभी ये बोलेगा, अरे तुम्हारा स्क्रिप्चर गलत है विधि, इसमें फ्राइडे नो स्मोकिंग लिखा है, you don't know, right? और 20 allowed है. She'll say नहीं 20 थोड़ी allowed है, 10 allowed है. And Monday और Thursday मना किया है, Friday नहीं होता, तुम तो गलत लिखा है तुम्हारे स्क्रिप्चर. Vishal will say नहीं, Monday, sorry, what is that? Tuesday, Wednesday and Sunday, and only 5. तो तीनों आपस में झगड़ा करेंगे कि तुम्हारा गलत है, नहीं तुम्हारा गलत है, right? The real message is with her कि actually smoking is bad. The day he realizes, Shreyans realizes कि नहीं, why this restriction? Why only 20? मैं तो 40 पी रहा था. Why only 20? Why not unlimited? क्यों ऐसा restriction? Why not on Friday? And he starts thinking like this, right? He is eligible to receive real knowledge, right? कि भाई smoking is bad, आपको कम कराने के लिए दिया है, right? That time when he is ready for that real knowledge, वरना तो खुश रहेगा, हाँ 40 पी रहा था, कम से कम 20 मिल रहा है यार, right? And at least हफ्ते में 6 दिन में पी सकता हूँ, फ्राइडे मना है, चलेगा, फ्राइडे एक दिन टॉलरेट कर लेगा. But when he thinks intellectually, is it really bad? क्यों restriction है ये? Why not unlimited? Why not all days a week? When he understands himself, thinks कि शायद ये गलत है, क्या ये? Right? When he questions, then he can be given a real knowledge. So likewise, all these different religions are based on the capacity to accept truth. Truth can be given, but according to the capacity of the individual to accept that truth. आप इसको शुरू में बोलोगे कि इन्हें पे 40 नहीं पीना है, छोड़ दे सिगरेट, वो आपको छोड़ देगा, right? So truth is given in proportion to the capacity to accept that truth. And when even while he is not able to follow everything, वो 20 पी रहा है, but still intellectually understands कि शायद ये गलत है, right? वरना क्यों restriction होता है? Then you can tell him the real thing, but like okay, now gradually, step by step, come towards this side. So therefore, there are different religions based on time, place, and circumstance according to how much truth can be accepted. Like Jesus said, there is so much more to tell you, but you're not ready. Right? Jesus says this in Bible. There are sections of Quran which actually describe the personality of God. Right? 8 kalma or something, I don't know. I heard it from somebody, so I'm just repeating. I don't know, we'll have to check the facts. But I heard this from someone. Like they don't even read 8 kalma. Oh, khali Maulana 7 tak padhata hai. There are some Sufis who read the 8th, which actually has description of the Lord. So these things are there. Okay, thank you everyone for bearing with me. Hare Krishna. Illusion, short kirtan.